Hello.
Hello. Thanks so much, Deon and Marine, for joining us to show us your tiny house. Can you tell me what you're up to at the moment in your build?
Currently, we're trying to finish off the bathroom. So we're trying to do the bathroom wall linings. And we're also finishing off lots of the details around like the windows, loft and the walls and stuff like that.
Trying to work hard to finish the inside so we can start moving in quite soon. So, but we're not building every day, so it's obviously a bit of a slow progress, but we're still, getting there.
These are our steps up to the loft. So they just slide out and then you just walk up them.
I love that. That is such a good design.
But yeah, I really learnt on the job, which is, I think, probably the best way to learn anyways.
Putting the bathroom wall in, it's like, oh, it's not quite lining up. And I'm like, yeah, that was my fault from the beginning.
What you see, hear, smell about each other, that just amplifies.
It's going to be way better when we start building every day.
So it sounds like you've got a site that you're pretty settled on.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we spent months looking for a place when COVID was happening. So it was very difficult. We didn't get a single response. And actually, Marine put up an ad on Gumtree and someone locally contacted us. I think he was bored and he's always on Gumtree looking for stuff. And he's like, oh, this is interesting. So he gave us a call and we met them and they're wonderful. And they offered the spot, which is in Sydney.
Northern Beaches.
Northern Beaches of Sydney, and it's just quiet, beautiful.
When our landlord contacted us, it was really exciting, and straight away we got along really well, and they're really amazing people. So it was just like perfect. So very lucky.
It's such a nice place.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Would you mind giving us a tour of the place and your house and everything?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
They made these 2 little car spots for us.
Oh, fantastic.
There's a bit of the sun in it.
And it's just, the whole property is just lots of trees and...
Oh my God, it's like a park.
Yeah. After they saw us with ours, you can see just there, they got a little inspired and they bought one for themselves.
Yeah, they bought it too.
That's great. So they've got 2 tiny houses.
Yeah, so this is our tiny house. That's just electricity box. I was just looking at the battery this morning. We've got a little outdoor shower there.
Yeah, we need to make it nicer though. It's a bit temporary.
Okay. Well, you guys do surfing heaps, don't you? So you'd be always coming in from the beach.
Yeah, and we're just 10 minutes from the beach here, so.
You guys have it made. This is fantastic.
We kind of packed up in a hurry yesterday, so it's really kind of messy to go in, but
that's the loft. Oh, that was just like to check if we could put like a surfboard up there.
You can.
But the loft, and then there's the kitchen.
Right, so you've got a closed loft.
It's just semi-closed. We're just testing the board rack.
Right.
So there's going to be a kitchen under this window. There's going to be another table.
Yep.
Just spin around. On the other side, that's going to be our lounge room. The Marine is. And there's a little storage shelf.
Extra shelf.
Oh, great. That's what we used ours for the whole time, was storage.
Yeah. Bathroom.
Yeah.
It's hard to see. I'm trying to put these on. And it's the toilet under the stairs.
Ah, sweet.
This is our tool storage room at the moment. And then we've got stairs going upstairs to the loft.
Great. This is a neat private little space that you've created here with that design. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, and that's one of the best things. Skylight.
Skylight. It means you don't have to do windows on the sides, I see.
Yeah, well, that was very difficult to do in the design of the framing anyway, so.
this is a bit of a mess. Well, it's a work in progress. So
yeah, well, we knew it was going to be a work in progress.
The water tank.
Great.
Ready for our grey water. That's our little garden bed here. So
fantastic. Yeah. What's the cladding that you've used on the outside of the tiny house?
It's called shadow clad. It's basically a grooved plywood.
So we painted it grey, which is like a grey Salinger, I think the colour. So yeah, it was a lot of painting to do on the cladding, and we waterproofed the other side as well, just to make sure that if there's humidity or anything, it wouldn't be an issue. So yeah, it's been really good so far. Because it's been raining so much though, there's a little bit of mold, but I think we can just get rid of it easily, hopefully. Yeah. So
the shadow clad's a little bit more expensive than like a steel, but we didn't really want it to look like a tin shed. That's why we went with shadow clad.
Yeah, it looks housey. It's nice.
Yeah.
And what about its weight? I imagine it would be pretty lightweight for what it is.
It's heavier than steel. Steel, I think, may have been a bit lighter.
Well, how are you going with managing the weight of the tiny house?
So we probably won't make the 3.5. We're probably going to be over 3.5, but we shouldn't be like more than 4.5. So I think we'll be pretty good weight-wise. But yeah, we've been careful.
It's going to be just over 4 ton.
That's great, because then you've got a couple 100 kilos worth of stuff that you can transport in it.
It's always stressful, the weight part.
It is. Yeah, but I think that, you know, more and more we're seeing that you've got a 7.2 metre tiny house, and I think that is a completely achievable under 4.5 ton tiny house, you know. Like, I sort of think that you're not making every decision based on weight at that point.
It adds up very quickly.
2,000
nails in the cladding alone.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And how have you gone with towing it so far?
When it was at 3 ton, it wasn't a problem. We had a friend that had a ute that we could do it. However, I mean, I had to move it recently just to do the leveling underneath it, and it was with a car that's not rated for 4.5. It was, I think, rated at 3 or a little bit under, and it was starting to slide a little bit. So it's starting to get to the point where we can't tow it without we need a truck.
A proper truck,
Yeah.
But we're not planning on moving it really for a while, so that's good that we don't have to move it. The size is probably too big to move it regularly.
It's not. It's not made for traveling.
It's not made for traveling.
You stay still. It's just literally you put wheels on it to get around council regulations. That's it.
And then if you need to take it with you, it's not going to break.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, exactly.
When did you start building?
February
last year.
2020. Yeah, we parked it at a location we had at the time.
Yeah.
But that fell through, so we didn't get to start building then.
They changed their mind.
They changed their mind as we were starting to build, but that's okay. And then we started in February, I think 2020.
Yeah, February.
Yeah. And then we had another location, but we had to move as well after.
They sold the land, so we had to move it again.
Yeah, so we moved a few times.
It doesn't go according to plan, does it, all the time?
Yeah, so we've been building for about
more than a year now.
More than a year.
Yeah.
Mostly part-time. So that's where we're up to now.
Yeah, we didn't think it would take that long. I think we thought that in a year's time or a little bit less we would already be living in it, but obviously I think because we're working on it part-time, we realized that there's actually a lot more to do to the tiny house, and like it's hard to, like, sometimes you have to stop for like a week or two, and then you have to restart, and then you have to get into rhythm again, and you have to solve a lot of different problems as well because it's not a standard house. So it's taking a bit longer than we thought, but I think we're going towards the end now, so that should be good.
Yeah, it certainly looks like you just have those sort of finishing things to do, like the kitchen and the bathroom, and then that actually looks pretty well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And everything is custom in a tiny house. It's not like a house where you have standards. You can try to like keep the standards, but because it's like smaller scale and you try to make it super like practical in all the areas, then you have to really do a lot of custom fittings, and that takes longer, I think. So.
And costs more.
It does, yeah. And it can be harder to source the things. Like, what have you had to make custom?
Everything. So when we built the frames, for instance, I didn't realize that some companies do standard size windows that you could just buy. So when I did the openings for the windows, we based it off, we had some salvaged windows, so we based it off that.
Yeah.
And then we went to buy some windows for it. They're like, oh, these are all custom sizes, so it's going to cost this much more to make all these windows. I'm like, oh, all right, okay. We were just looking at a shower screen. If you wanted to get a custom shower screen, a standard one, they're all like 2 meters or 2.1, whereas our loft area is 1.9. So
under the loft,
it all has to be specially cut or made for it. So yeah, just
little things like that. And it adds up.
Yeah, it just means that Bunnings just can't help you in some situations. You do have to go and get it made. So how's it been as a building experience, like between you two?
Yeah, there's been very steep learning curve, but certainly enjoyed it.
Yeah, I knew like absolutely nothing about building before, so I love painting and know how to paint anything, but yeah, that was kind of it. So I'm not like, I can learn quickly, but yeah, I didn't know anything. Lucky Deon knows a lot about like handy things and building and making things, and I think your engineering background helped a lot as well. So obviously he has to take the lead on a lot of things, which is a bit hard sometimes because I wish I could take the load off Deon, but I can't because I don't know where to start, and even if I learn, it'll be really hard and slow and I make mistakes and stuff. So I think that's the hardest thing, is that a lot was on you. I mean, is still on you for the build.
With the design, I got a model from Fred originally, and based on that model is how I based the design. So I just took the basic techniques and how he put things together, which is like the skin on the outside, the structure design, and also how he did the roof. And based on that design, I copied the same principle, and then I applied that to this, and then I got that signed off by an architect here.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So I got it all before we put up the frame, so I got them all signed off by an architect. Also because the insurance company at the time said that you need everything signed off by a plumber, electrician, architect before they'll even give us insurance. So.
Okay, so were they conceptualizing it as a house on foundations rather than a vehicle?
I don't think they knew. They just needed somebody else. They needed somebody with a license to take responsibility for it. They're like, oh, it needs to be designed to the standard, except there is no standard for tiny houses. So I don't think they knew exactly what they wanted to insure it to, but at the time. But at the moment, we've got it insured through another company, and they didn't require any sort of sign off.
No. But if we need to,
which is the company that insures your house?
Yeah, Yui's insuring it now, I think.
Okay, great. Because I think that CIL does it, but they require it to be made by a registered builder of houses on foundations.
Yeah, correct. And or equivalent sign off. So that's what I was lining it all up to be signed off by an architect, or that would say, yes, this is built to an acceptable standard. As well as electrician sign off that all of his work is done, as well as a plumber sign off, and then they would have accepted that.
Right.
Except you've just gone, oh, you've got a tiny house on a trailer, fantastic. If it's not finished, they've insured it as a trailer until it's finished, and then they probably want some photos and stuff, but they don't need it to be signed off.
What was the sign-off process like? Just to drill down a little bit on that architect, for example, what was required from you for that?
So I gave him structural drawings of the frame, how it's attached to the trailer, how the windows are done, how the doors are done, just how to stop it from moving this way. He kind of checked it and goes, yeah, look, this is good. He also checked that all the joins, like on the roof, what sort of join you've used, a metal bit, and what screws have gone through, and how thick your wood is, and everything like that. Came out and inspected it a few times. Once I finished the roof structure, he came out and just inspected it and goes, yep, okay, good. He took lots of photos. And then he'll sign a document for us that will say this is built to an acceptable standard based on, I guess, his experience.
Okay.
And that was what I believe was enough for the CIL insurance company. So.
It's such a tricky thing, I think, for people, you know, who are operating a bureaucratic function, essentially, within a company like an insurance company, because they're having to make decisions on tiny houses that are on wheels, which are vehicles, but all of their references are for a building industry that's based on foundations.
Yeah.
So I think it gets very confused very quickly.
Certainly seen like other tiny houses that are designed by actual tiny house builders that aren't as structurally strong as the design that we've done, for instance.
Mm.
And it's like, well, where do you draw the line? I mean, theirs is probably acceptable as well, but I don't know. I guess the one thing that's gotten me a few times is what comes with experience is knowing that if you build this, you can't do that until you've done this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
It's like they all need to be done in a certain way.
Yeah.
And if you don't look ahead like 3, 4, 10, 20 steps, you can run into trouble. And then you have to go back a little bit, fix something, and come back. So that's experience, and that's what I guess I didn't have until I built this. So.
Yeah.
You mentioned the height of your trailer before. What is the height of your house?
4.3.
Yeah.
And it's possible that the skylight may be a couple centimeters over that. So we're not sure because it's very difficult to measure the height without any special equipment.
I hope that skylight just stays really well installed.
Oh, it is.
It is, yeah.
Under a bridge. You know, I just hope that there is no bridge that just clips it off.
Well, I'm going to be super cautious, and you can actually use a road map. There's an actual road map for 4.6 meter high trucks. And they have to use this map, and they can't go anywhere off the designated line. So we'll do that.
I mean, I think with the tiny houses on wheels, if it's over the rating of the trailer, like if the trailer is rated to 4.5 and you go over, it's not roadworthy.
Okay, yep.
So then you can't move it on its own wheels. You'd have to put it on a lowrider.
Yeah. We won't go there.
No. Are you going to get it registered, or are you going to avoid it because you're in New South Wales?
It's going to be an unregistered vehicle for the rest of its life.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as we can.
Yeah, as long as we can.
And when we move it, you just get the unregistered vehicle permit to move it. And I don't see there's any issue unless it's for insurance.
Yeah.
And how are you? What's your living situation whilst you're building?
Living at
my parents'
place. We're very grateful that we can stay at Deon's parents' house while we finish this build, and then we can move in here. So
Yeah. Thanks, parents. We just need it, don't we? Need the leg up.
We could have done it living at a rental place and building this, but we would have wasted a lot more money that we couldn't have put into this. So.
Yeah.
And what is your budget tracking at the moment?
It's going really good. I think our original budget was 40 grand, and I think we're at 45. Well, we knew we'd go over, but we'd at least try and aim for something.
Yeah.
I think we're about 45, but
we might reach 50 with all the like if we're gonna build a deck and.
I didn't know how expensive decks are.
Yeah.
I think we're probably going to be around 50, 55 once it's finished.
Yeah. And it's off-grid?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So we've been building off-grid too. We've actually, when we needed a power tool that we can't run off the battery, we run a generator.
That's impressive.
That's when you're like, oh, it would be so good to have like a big warehouse with a workshop and you can just live in everything next to the house.
Oh, no rain if it's in a workshop.
And no rain,
no rain.
The rain has been, That's that. Do you want to move into shade? It's really sunny.
Yeah. So have you done the whole build outdoors?
Yeah, everything outdoors, we're pretty lucky that when we put the frame up, we didn't have too much rain. Like it rained a little bit when it wasn't like watertight yet, but it was pretty okay. And then
we managed to get the roof on, part of the roof on before too much rain.
Yeah, wow. You're really up against it, aren't you? I mean, you've had floods and a pandemic and fires.
Yeah, fires before,
Yeah, we're lucky we're nowhere near floods. We're on a hill.
Yeah, no, we're really lucky. Like it could be a lot worse. So.
Yeah.
When do you think you will be finished?
Well, it depends on availability because we're also working part-time and work has been taking more and more time away from the tiny house.
Yeah.
So it's been slowing us down. I'd like to say 2 months.
Yeah.
It's a little bit optimistic.
Maybe 3.
We've written a list on like what are the essentials we need, the minimum to be able to move in.
Yeah.
Because once you move in, you've got a lot more time, like in the morning and afternoon, that you could do little bits here and there. And I think that would actually help us. So we're working on that.
I would just suggest finishing everything that requires a power tool before you move in, because they do not go well in a small space when you're living there.
That's a great idea.
Well, how about you let us know when you're finished and you're in the house, and we'll receive some sort of update from you. I'd love that. And then we'll be able to enjoy the photos of...
Definitely. I can't wait for that part.
Well, you could have some gin.
Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah, like a gin and tonic.
I mean, I know that you guys have a small distillery making fabulous gin that I've sampled 2 bottles of already. Ridiculous. Yeah, but can you tell us a little bit about what makes it so special?
We're making gin and whiskey actually from surplus unsold bread. So we're trying to reduce food waste, which also reduces the carbon emissions.
Right.
And we found that a lot of the bakeries just on the northern beaches, and they throw away so much bread at the end of the day. And we decided to try and turn that into alcohol, and we're making a gin out of it, and we've put some whiskey down, which takes 2 years. We're still working on some more gins using different fruits as well.
Yeah.
Which they wouldn't be able to sell normally. So.
Yeah, we're trying to create something that's like really delicious and for people to enjoy and join it with something that makes a bit of a difference. So trying to reduce good food waste, and we're trying to be as eco-friendly as we can and
sustainable.
So that's a really fun adventure that we started as well with the distillery, and we really want to like spend more time on it as well. So we're like, we got to finish this house so we can spend more time on the distillery. But it's good to join the two a little bit.
Oh, that's so great. Thanks so much, Deon and Marine, for sharing all your journey so far. It's fascinating to hear, and I think it'll be really helpful for people to hear what you've shared already.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Take care.
Check out the Candid Tiny House podcast for the full and complete interview with Deon and Marine. They talk about things like tiny house weight management. They go into much more detail on that. They talk about the whole process of building their DIY tiny house, including their delays, their injuries, the changes of location that they faced, and how they've supported each other and how they've been supported by other people to complete their build. Deon also shares with us a neat trick about how he increased the internal height inside his tiny house by changing the way he built his loft. So be sure to check that one out. That's Candid Tiny House Podcast. Catch Deon and Marine on their Instagram channels. They've got Tiny Surf House and Hang 10 Distillery. Music for the episode is by Scott Buckley. It's edited by Media Magnet, and I'm your host, Shannon Schultz from Fred's Tiny Houses. We recorded this episode on Jara country, and we pay our respects to the Dja Dja Wurrung people. Please share this episode with anybody you think might benefit from it, and we'll see you next time. Stay candid.